This is still a controversial deal.
Yeah, and mainly because none of these oil companies are agreeing to cut oil and gas consumption. And that is the crux of the issue for many of these climate and energy leaders that are now gathering in the UAE for this UN conference. There's a concern the planet is warming so fast that without major cuts to fossil fuel use, the crisis will become stronger and the options for remedy far fewer. That said, the pledge by these oil companies was the highlight of the latest COP28 session. Exxon, Mobil, and Saudi Arabia's Aramco led a pledge by 50 oil and gas producers to cut emissions of their own operations. And we're talking about cutting back the release of methane, and it's by 2030. There's a new methane tracking program now designed to hold big oil accountable. Now, this initiative was spearheaded by COP28 President Sultan Al Jaber. Now, he's the CEO of Abu Dhabi National Oil, and he says we must do all we can to decarbonize the energy system that we have today. Now, the COP28 Climate Summit is an ambitious effort with hundreds of organizations, companies, and activists in attendance, but there are divisions within, and many of those are making their way to the headlines this week.
What are the major issues at the moment, Sue?
Well, there is an ambitious agenda, and that includes cutting various fuels and, again, following the Paris Accord and the already set steps. But there are a lot of critics. Newly reported comments by COP28's President Al Jaber have sparked concern there's less of a commitment to that fossil fuel phase-out. And at the crux of the controversy, there was an online conversation between the Irish president who pressed Jaber to take a lead in phasing out fossil fuel, and Jaber's response was he did not in any way want to sign up for any discussion that is alarmist. Now, he reviews a phase down and a phase out of fossil fuel as inevitable, but wants to be pragmatic here. Activists view big oil as climate criminals and are concerned the oil companies have essentially hijacked this conference. So all of this is raising questions about whether the conference will be able to unite behind a strong pledge on eliminating fossil fuels. Meanwhile, very quickly, the U.S. pledged $3 billion in climate aid to poor nations. The EU said it would invest about $2.5 billion in the green transition overseas. And those are also some of the highlights from this week.